The other day, a friend got in touch and he sent me a video they'd prepared for putting on social media. And he was asking me for some advice, what I thought of it, what could be maybe better, and so on and so forth. And as I do, as I um, you know, it's kind of who I am, I started thinking about all the detailed feedback I could give him. And then I stopped myself and I realized that what he needed and what I need too often wasn't a lot of nuanced, thoughtful feedback on what he was doing, but that he just needed an encouragement to put this thing out into the world. And so I told him to ignore all of my advice and just put the thing that he'd made out into the world. And it goes without saying that it was something that I already thought was more than good enough to be watched by people. And when I say more than good enough, it, or let me start again. And this video is going to be an example of something which is not quite perfect. His dilemma and my answer to his question really has given me pause for thought because there's so many things I don't myself put out into the world because they're not perfect and I want them to be a certain way and I need to reach certain standards and so on and so on. And there's always new things that are getting in the way of me putting things out into the world, or new excuses, or new ways of protecting myself from the pain that can come with the idea of putting something out into the world, let alone the reality. Often you can publish something on the internet, who knows, just a video, and nobody notices. The world shrugs, no biggie. Um, and yet, and again, I can only speak for myself. I often find that there are lots of um, kind of mental checkpoints that I've set up or set up in front of me as I try to move forward, which means I never ever get to anywhere, never actually publish anything at all. Um, so why am I making this video? You probably ask that question. I'm making this video because I think I'm assuming a lot of us struggle with this same problem of various different ways of being stuck. I made videos in the past called Unstuck, and my podcast, which regularly gets stuck in between episodes, maybe a year between episodes. And I'm making this video for exactly the same reason that I told my friend the other day, David is his name, to just put out his video and move on because the only way we get stronger is by exercising these muscles that we might want to exercise, such as the one that's required to pick up a camera and start talking, or such as the one that's required to stop watching something over and over and again and put it out there. Or, I noticed myself stumbling over some words just there in the past, or let's say regularly in the past. I would say, I should record it again because it should be much better. And yeah, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of the psychology around that, which I've learned more about the last few years. Um, but I'll just come back to the central message of this video, I think. And and again, it's a video making for myself. And if it helps you or anyone else, that's just a beautiful bonus, which is that, if there's an uncomfortable threshold and it's really bugging you, like I would like to know what it like is what I would like to know what it feels like to put out a video into the world. Well, just, I mean, it's easy to say, but just do it. But I would nuance that with saying just do it in the way which is the most comfortable for you, which might be making a video and sending it to a friend and saying, hey, do you think I should share this with my audience or an audience, or, my Facebook feed or Instagram feed or whatever? And that's even just the first beautiful step. And they might say, you know what, this is great, and just do it. Or they might say, um, they might give you some feedback that helps you do the next one better. But I think the main thing that again, I come back to here as I make this video, which is a slightly rambling one, and beautifully so, is that it's far less likely that we're going to make progress towards any kind of destination we'd like to go to. And again, by the way, psychologically, destinations as a concept is also very dangerous. But I won't go into that now either. Oh man, I'm full of rabbit holes. Without putting one foot forward, just one, then I think there's not going to be very much progress. As I sat down today and was drinking my coffee, which is here, um, I started writing things down. I started writing down things like, how can I make more music? How can I do things that help people more? And how can I find meaning in that? Because being a human being is being a meaning machine, and looking for reasons why we're here or why we do things. And it's not always easy. And I guess I'm not alone in that thought. Um, what other questions did I have? How to cultivate a natural energy, a kind of momentum for doing things, for making music, for putting it out in the world, for for being comfortable with putting things out in the world, for accepting that things won't be perfect. I've put out music videos on YouTube, which I'm proud of, but they were often really painful to do. And many took so much effort, and really, it's almost felt like they led to minor burnouts each time, because they had to look great. They had to sound great. The music itself had to be good enough that I could defend myself and not feel like, um, not feel a sense of imposter syndrome. I had to educate people with those videos. And all of those things that I put as a necessity for those videos made it so hard to get to the finish line, of course. And I think even by making those videos, while I had the intention, of course, to help people and help myself naturally by putting them out there, I think seeing things that look and sound really, really, really good is also probably disheartening at times. Maybe not. It depends on your character. I think for some people it could be great, and it's probably so much to be understood about our different individual characters and what kind of things help us and which things don't. Some people watch maybe a really great movie and immediately go and sit down at their instrument and make some music, and there's no barrier there whatsoever. Some people, maybe like myself, think, how can I make some great music and have it look as good as that film I just watched? Which is, it's a lot to ask, arguably. So what's my point here, Andrew? What is the point of this video? The video is purely and simply to make something and make it imperfectly, with camera wobble, with my finger going in front of the camera now and then, with me stumbling over my words here, sort of in the early parts of the day, for me anyway, and to just press publish and put it out there. And if it helps someone else, again, that's just super cool. I tried to write down some answers, to these questions I asked, and I'll try and share some just now. And I'll put the camera here, like so. There we go. And what did I write down? I mean, this is like self-therapy for myself. The answers to my questions, and the questions, like I said, were how to make music fun again, how to also make things that help people, that can help pay the bills. It's important, can't avoid that. How to have a sense of meaning, how to cultivate a natural energy, and how to put things into the world with less anxiety. What did I say? What are my answers today? Bearing in mind, these are not concrete, guaranteed solutions for anything. These are just the first things that bubbled up in my mind. So the first one I wrote, which I like, is don't avoid the act of doing. So action and movement, just like when we go for a walk, they spur new ideas. I think it's been proven at a neurological level that that's the case. Whether that's the case or not, I know that it's true. When I'm stuck, it's just great to go for a walk. So just the act of doing, just the act of me doing this, even if I wouldn't publish this video, would be great because something has probably shifted, and I've gotten at least a bit closer to where I want to be. What I also wrote was small steps without kind of overarching strategy might be better than a perfect plan. Usually, when I have something I want to do, I start thinking, well, what's the perfect plan? How could I set this up so that it's got lots of layers to it, which are really well thought out, that are going to make it super high quality, that are going to guarantee that people are going to like it, and that I'm going to be protected from any kind of criticism on any level whatsoever. That's again my personal psychological baggage I think that I carry, but a smaller step in no particular direction, I'm arguing here, is probably much better than setting up a 12-point plan and many things that need to happen before you can even make that first step. What else did I write? Experiment and see what works. That's a good idea. That's as simple as that. And this is an experiment. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And it could be that after I've done it, I'm not sure it was a great idea in every sense. However, the only way I'm going to find out is by doing it. So yeah, I started recording this video twice, and I tried to make some kind of perfect intro or hook. And then I was like, no, just start talking. Just let the thoughts roll out. Cross thresholds of discomfort. They're not so scary in the end. And what I mean by that is that there's been many moments when I thought I really would like to have X, Y, Z or experience certain things, but I'm very uncomfortable with the idea of even just stepping across this natural resistance I have to doing whatever it might be. Um, and I think we can find them in everyday life. Sometimes you see something or you see somebody um, experiencing something in the world in the world out there on the street, and you think, oh, you have a certain thought. You say, well, I would love to tell them they're wearing a great jacket, you know. And I'm not saying you should go and compliment everybody on their outerwear, um, especially because it's one side that matters more. But there are these moments where you think to yourself, I wish I could share that, but you don't. So maybe find small thresholds that you can cross, which are not so painful to do. And yeah, consider these answers I'm giving now to myself, as interpretations of a question, because they're not going to be the right answer for you in every case. And that's why I think there's a lot of videos on YouTube and elsewhere which say, this is how you do things, and this is the answer, and these are the hacks. And while they can be helpful, and I've absorbed so many of them, and I love how I'm just chopping off my head here. I've absorbed so many of them myself, but at some point they stop helping because you can only carry so many answers in your head, and often they're very personal ones. Um, don't avoid your dreams. I mean, that's a provocative one, um, and I think to not avoid your dreams, you need to ask what they are. And oh, I think that's a huge topic. That's just massive. I don't know if I dare open that up right now, but to completely avoid them, to never give yourself space for things which do give you joy, that seems unfair. So even just at a small level, just a little moment every day or every week, exploring those things strikes me as worth doing in a life we probably only get to live once. Talk to people, listen to them. Our struggles are shared. So by that I mean that I think during COVID and during like this period in which I launched a business selling online courses to people, I didn't see people anymore. I mean, of course, I saw my friends now and then, but it was a very weird period during and after COVID where, like, I thought, oh, great, now I control my time completely. Nobody can bother me with their needs, and at some point, I realized I'd just become very lonely. In fact, And the important thing about talking to people and keeping them in your life, personally, of course, but also professionally, because I don't teach in classrooms anymore. I just teach teach online in videos that people could be watching right now, but I'm not there. Is when you talk to people and you listen to them, you just realize that our struggles are shared, and it gives a lot of solace. It is really nice. Um, it helps. The struggle is real. It is shared, and there's nothing strange about most of the things, all of the things that we go through, because so many of them are shared. So, and people like to be, I want to say, spoken to. Pe- people people appreciate being asked questions, and by asking good questions, sometimes you can learn some of the most interesting things you'll ever learn, and not by an internal dialogue with yourself. Although it's worth asking big questions to ourselves. Even if I sit down here, sometimes I just say to myself out loud a question that's on my mind, and it does help. But the art of asking questions, the art of listening, is truly an art, and truly a pleasure. We don't always need to be listening to the sound of our own voice to feel good. So yeah, the last one I wrote was exercise more, my friend, meaning me. Go for a ride, on my bike or something. Again, the mind and the body, they're linked pretty strongly, and I think as electronic musicians, if that's who you are watching this, we spend a lot of time sitting down in front of boxes with blinking lights, and as fun as that is, if you don't look after your body, you're also going to start feeling less good. Now, I wasn't planning on reading these notes, but I just thought that the thought into my mind, and I thought, well, let's just do it. So we're 17 minutes into this video. It's absurd. That's a long video, um, but it feels good to do it. And I think, like I say, in my mind right now, it's like this thing's gonna get 50 views or something. It doesn't matter. That really doesn't matter. I mean, imagine if there's 50 people, 50 human beings spending time watching 17 minutes of me talking away here. That's exceptional. Even one person, even me, just saying these words and putting this video out, it's worth it for that. So I'm going to try to leave you with one thought though, and that is just, and how do I formulate this? I've said it a few times already. If you're thinking about doing something and you would like to do it, and you'd like to know how it feels to do that thing, well then do it, and do it on the smallest scale possible that makes you comfortable, but just a tiny bit uncomfortable. Share it with a friend. You might not get from them what you want. You probably won't. Many people are really busy, and it might not be something you need to share at all with the world in the form of the internet. That has its pros and cons, as I'll probably discover when I share this video. Um, but if you'd like to do something, make a little space for it, and do just be brave enough to cross that threshold and make it small so it's not too terrifying, and you'll be surprised about how much further you can keep going. On that note, I hope you're doing really well. I'd like to ask you a question as well, which is, how are you doing? And you can answer that any way you want. Take care.